All right.
All right, ladies, it looks like we are live this morning. Thank you for joining us. I don't know if you're going to be able to join us live or whether you're going to watch this as a replay, but we're so glad that you're joining us today in whatever format that takes place. Today is day 28 of our 30-day Better Mind and Body Challenge. So, girls, we got 2 days left. But today I have with me good friend and special guest, Maurine Kwende. And I want to tell you a little bit about Maurine. Maurine is the CEO and founder of EMK Learning Solutions, which is a training and development company based in Virginia. And she has over 15 years experience in areas of consulting. Her expertise includes strategic planning, instructional design, training and development, performance improvement, leadership development, DISC, which is a personality behavioral tool, organizational development, scrum, and agile project management. You can also listen to Maurine. She's the host of her own podcast called Empowerment Minutes, which is about learning and development and leadership and coaching. She is also a Maxwell certified leadership coach, speaker, and DISC consultant. She speaks at many conferences and events on various topics. In fact, this weekend, she just hosted her own 2-day workshop for women and their daughters, which she allowed me to be a guest speaker at. So Maurine is actually my accountability partner, and she is a person who is helping me and pushing me to take steps that are out of my comfort zone. So I'd love to bring Maurine in here today and have her share her story. The workshop that she just did this weekend was titled, Dream Big and Live It Boldly. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. And so, Maurine, I just want to ask you to share a time when you had a big dream, and what was it that inspired it?
First of all, I want to thank everybody for listening. It's really an honor. It's just a joy to be part of this, what Kelly's doing. I'm very proud of Kelly, and I'm very proud of everybody because we all need encouragement, whether I would like it or not. So I just want everybody who's listening in to be encouraged and know, we got your back, and don't feel like you're alone. You're not alone. All right. So thank you so much in advance for listening to my story, and I hope you get inspired in one way or the other, or someone gets inspired. Okay, so that way we're changing our world and the world around us. All right, so thank you. Now back to your question, Kelly. In terms of a dream, I'm a dreamer. It's hard to pick one dream. There's always this dream and this other dream. So the one dream that I think I would talk about is being my own boss and owning my own company. And what inspired it is I remember when I was a teenager, I was watching a TV show, and there was this hotel magnate who had like so many hotels that he was helping out in the community. And so that show, I wish I could remember the name of the show, but the show was, it was the acts of service and how the person was dedicated in his business and how he was very affluent and making a difference. That's how I got inspired. And from that age, I think probably I was 13 years old. Yeah, well, probably I was 13. Yeah, I think so. Then I thought, you know what? One day I'm going to have a hotel in every city in the world. That was my dream when I was 13. And so as time went on, I did not get into the hotel business, but it became clear to me that I am somebody who has to who have the desire to have my own company, to have my own business. So then, it was starting to shape up what that business is going to be. Probably not a hotel, but what kind of business is that going to be? Is it linked to my career? Is it linked to adding value? I'm somebody that I love to add value to people. I love to give. I love to inspire. So whatever the vision is, whatever the dream is, it has to be aligned with that. So as years went by, I kept my dream. I kept my dream and kept on going. Going to school, having my degrees. Starting a career in human resource management. And I knew it wasn't the end. And I kept on going. Then I know you're going to ask me this question next. Then I met somebody that was just the piece of the puzzle that I needed. So when I met that person who now became my mentor, um, she was the person that helped me to be able to live my dream. Because when I saw her, I could tell that this person is somebody that I would like to be like. She was like she became a mentor to me. She was the president of the HR organization that I was part of. And then we developed a relationship and I got to know her and she got to know me. Our personalities clicked like so much together. And then from there, she helped me to really get close to my dream. And fast forward in 2018, I opened my company. And when I did that, I reached out to her and I said, "So I did it. I did it." So that's like one of my big dreams that I've always wanted to have my own company, not just a company, but a company that I can be able to help other people, seeing how I can add value. So that's the one dream I can share. If you want me to share like 10 others, I can go there if you want. But that's the one dream I had and how I got inspired and how I stayed close to my dream and how it came to pass.
So, question for you. So you've created your company,
Hmm.
and you know that you want to help and inspire people. So,
Yes.
what steps did you have to take to actually get you to the place where you created your LLC, your actual company? What kind of steps did you actually have to take, um, to get there? Obviously, you said you had a mentor who helped push you
Hmm.
there, but if you could share what maybe some of the hardest steps were that you had to take, um, to make that happen, what would that be?
Yeah, I have quite a few things to share here. So for me, one of my favorite quotes is by Steve Jobs, which says, "Be a yardstick of quality." Right. So even though I had a dream, you have to present yourself like somebody who knows what they're doing.
Hmm.
Right. So when I had the dream, I had a mentor. I started looking at what she was doing. I know her character. Character matters. Your work ethic matters. I started making sure that I have all those in place because if you're having a company, somebody is not just coming for your services. They're expecting to be treated in a certain type of way. What kind of values am I showing? Is my business representing? Right? So I had to work in all those areas. And I know that for you to run your own company, you have to be a leader. Right. So I was in a position in the place where I used to work at the time, as a learning and development director for a nonprofit organization. I was the one leading the learning function. So even though I had people under me, I was leading that role. I knew that there was something missing. I knew I had to invest in myself even more to be able to present myself in a way that somebody would know, okay, this is good business. So I had to go back, with my certifications, with my degrees that I have. After I had my master's degree, I had to go back and learn, and took a chief learning officer certification. And that's a certification that's for the C-suite executives, right? Because if you're a CEO of a company, you want to present yourself in that way. You want to make sure you have the tool. I mean, what is leadership? Many people don't even know the difference of, what it takes to be a leader, what it takes to be a manager. How do you, do all those things? I had to make sure I was ready by getting all those in check. And then from there, I knew, okay, I have this in check and I have, my finances were also in order, right? Because when you're starting a business, you want to make sure that you put such and such amount that it's a cushion, right? So in case when you start that, then you're not going back thinking, well, what do I do? So I had all of those around me, and I had to prepare myself mentally. I said to myself, I cannot fail. I was my own coach. I coached myself every single time. You cannot fail. You're born to do this. So those are the things that, in a nutshell, that I would say really prepared me for this journey. And when the icing on the cake when I joined, John Maxwell, being somebody of faith myself, it was just perfect because he's somebody who is big on servant leadership, right? He's about his business is about serving, right? So then that brought the piece of the puzzle that, okay, you're now great as an entrepreneur, you have the skills, you have your leadership skills. Then how do you really make sure that everything is tied to value? That's the one thing I got from my certification with John Maxwell. It's important to know who you're learning from. You're not just learning, but it's important to know who you're learning from.
I
How
agree.
how can they influence your life? Because believe it or not, they do influence your life. You can influence your life negatively or positively, right? Because that's the thing with leadership. Leadership has followers, good or bad, if you're a good or bad leader. So I
That's
had to make sure that the person I'm learning from matters. And me getting to John Maxwell, I can only tell you that it's God who did it. Because the way I found out about John Maxwell and the place that I was spiritually, I had really grown to a level, that I know that I was really, that's my calling. God was speaking to me that this is what you have to do, Maureen. And I tell you this, the proof that what you're doing is what you're supposed to do is that you do it, I mean, without any struggle.
Mm.
Even if you have to put 20 hours a day, you don't feel like you're doing anything because it just flows. But when you're in a place where you're not supposed to be there, you struggle. So that's why I just want to think about it. Wherever you're going, check your mindset and check your purpose. Is everything aligned? If it's not aligned, no matter how prepared you are, no matter how all those things are not going to be the way you want them to be.
Maureen, that just makes me think about something that we talk about in this group a lot is that as human beings, we're three parts, we're body, mind, and soul. And I was just feeling like what I was hearing you say was, you learned a lot of things. You took a lot of steps to get where you are today. Some of which were you had a mentor. You
Mm-hmm.
worked hard at personal growth because you recognized that if you wanted to get where you were, you had to be a better leader than you currently were. And so you worked on
Absolutely.
that. Included in that required discipline because you
Mm,
saw where you wanted to go and you knew there were things that you were going to need to have in place for you to do that,
absolutely.
like your finances, which means you were disciplined with your finances to put them aside so that when the opportunity came, you'd be able to jump and to go.
There you
Um,
go.
and then I was just listening to you and I heard you talking about, I guess the word that comes to my mind is alignment. Alignment with your mind and alignment with your gut. That when you're doing something and you're working towards something and it just causes that struggle within you, that's
Yes.
sometimes a red flag that maybe that's not where you're supposed to be going. Not that you're not going
Absolutely.
to face struggles as you're going towards what you are supposed to be going to, but that inner struggle. Um,
Yes.
Let me ask you this: um, when you do face roadblocks on your path to where you want to go, what is it that inspires you to be motivated to keep going towards that thing that you want to get to? Is there something you tell yourself? Is there what's your reason for doing it? I don't even know what I'm trying to ask you exactly. Like, what is it
Yeah,
that helps you
get it.
get over that struggle or that roadblock to get you where you want to go?
I think one thing that helps me a lot above everything else is my faith. And, God tells us, the Bible tells us to leave an inheritance, right? So, and the God doesn't like waste, He's just telling us how to live our lives. So, the Bible, first of all, to me is my reference point. And when I do whatever I do, I have confirmation because I pray about it and I know that I feel the peace in my spirit. That's where I'm going. So, when I hit a roadblock, I go back to the source and tell God, you're the one who showed me a sign. You're the one who, directed me to this path. What am I supposed to do? You're the one who gives us strength when we're weak, right? So strengthen me, direct me, let the Holy Spirit guide me. So that's the one way that I address it, right? And I always have my goals, like I have a vision board, right? So I operate with the end in mind. So if I have any obstacles, I keep looking at what I see in front of me is where I'm going. You know, I'm not, I'm just using resilience. Like, I'm going to stay the course. I use different tools, you know, making me to be resilient in my path. And I personally think that we are stronger than we think we are. You know,
I agree.
I've had like so many challenges in life. I've had to go through loss. I've got through, you know, many things, rejection in my story. And, you know, I have gone through pain as well. But I've realized, even in a book that I'm, you know, writing, that's going to be coming up in November, that one thing that always takes me back to where I'm supposed to go is resilience. I find the strength. I am very resilient. And another thing is confidence, right? Because you have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself to be successful in life, it doesn't matter if you're aware of where you're going. It doesn't matter if you have all those tools. Do you believe you can do it? Do you have that confidence that you can do it? So my confidence, you know, sometimes you can't even take one step further without you believing in yourself. So I had to believe in myself and remind myself all the time, even if I have to have like note cards or some index cards or some things on my mirror. I always go around, you know, my journal that I check on it. Here it is. I use this journal more than everything else. And once it's done, I have quite a few of them. This is another one. I make sure that I keep things where I'm constantly reminded, you got this. This is where you're going. I write my goals every single day I mean, the big goals and the daily goals, that's helping me to go where I'm going. So those are the key things that have really helped me.
I love that. I do some of those as well. I have on my mirror in my bathroom, and I look at it often. And I look at it, and then I look at myself dead in the eye in the mirror. I didn't used to do that. It's been a newer practice for me, just probably just in the last 3 months, to look at it, but then look at myself in the mirror and think on what that says right there. You know, it's actually mine is a little card that's actually a definition of my name, which means warrior woman, and it's got some little descriptions that describe it. And I look at those things, and then I look myself in the eye and say, I am becoming these things over here. So
That's right.
I love your journals that you write in. You're writing your goals down, which means you're looking ahead to see where you want to go. What else did you mention? Something else that I wanted to bring up? Oh, could you tell us just a little bit about a vision board? Some people might not have heard of that before or know what that is. What is that, and how do you use that to help you?
It's just a tool in essence where you like people usually have a vision board at the beginning of the year, which is kind of like your goals. But because I'm a very visual person, I think a vision board works because in essence, you're just putting pictures of where you're wanting to go. Like, so imagine that you have a board in front of you, and then maybe this year you're planning to maybe make a trip to, I don't know, to England, and then you put England there. Maybe you want to open a company, you put that there, and then you put everything out where you're wanting to go, and then below them is going to give me like the steps that I'm planning to get to where I'm going. So it's just a visual of what you're dreaming, maybe in a year's time, or 6 months out, and then the steps that are gonna, so that way once you see it, you put it in a place that you're going to see it. Once you see it, it's happening. I'm a visual person, so I need to see it.
Right.
But so a vision board, to me, it works for most people, because if in any way, to an extent, we're still visual. So maybe you want to try it if that's something you want to explore. But it's something that is very important to me.
That's something I've heard about. I know people who do it, and I've never actually taken the time and set aside to actually do it. And just hearing you talk about that today, that's something. Okay, accountability partner. It's something you can
Yes,
ask me about
I'm
next week.
holding you accountable
You
for
can hold
that
me
one.
accountable next week and say, Cal, did you create that vision board yet?
Yeah, it's great because even when you think about, because even when you're dreaming, right, you have to think about somebody who does what you like to do. Maybe that person is like your role model. Put that person on your vision board. So when you see it, you're like, oh wait, this is where I'm going, right? It's very important. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this. Would you say that at this point you have achieved this dream of having your own company and going there?
I have achieved my dream because I have everything in place. But I would say this, even though I've achieved my dream, there are other dreams that are attached to the dream that I've achieved. So I would say it's a journey. And so if you have your own company, you're serving this. Now for me, it's getting to a point where I wanting to make greater impact, right? So when I'm thinking of like people that I coach individually, I coach them, how they can dream big and live it boldly and authentically and unapologetically. Now, for you to do that, you have to, do X, Y, Z. And so I'm looking at, okay, this is just one person that I'm coaching and this other one person I'm coaching. How can I be able to empower more people? How can I be able to get greater impact versus the one person? So you're not just adding value to just one person. Of course, when you add value to one person, they in turn add it to two and it creates a compounding effect. But there's also a greater impact or effect when you're looking at more people, right? So I'm looking out to grow my business in a way that, how am I really touching the lives of not just one or two? What are some ways that I can be able to touch more people, to encourage them that as women, we can build or create an army of women that will support each other because we all need each other and we need support.
We do.
How can we lift each other up, especially at a time like this, where, you know, there is so much negativity in the world and people are judging one person for their skin color, they're judging one person because it's not good enough. How can we look beyond those things and say, if God created this person, who am I to judge them? Right? See how we can look, get past, any of those biases and how we can hold each other up and say, we're an army. We can, we can and make an impact in the world. We can change our world and change the world around us, right? When you
Right.
look at, I was putting together my workshop, I was looking at, what the research saying, the number of leaders in the world that are women, there's 7% compared to, world leaders that are men. When you look at lawmakers that are women, we're at 24% compared to. So how can we look beyond all those things and say, together we can achieve more versus being looking at division, right? So
Right.
I'm looking, to grow my business in a way that, okay, it's a mindset of, getting together. It's a mindset of adding value. It's a mindset that says no to division, yes to inclusion, right? See how
Yes.
we can be more inclusive and how we can be able to impact our world. Because we
Right.
only have a limited time while we are here. We don't know
True.
when we're going to be, saying, okay, we've come to the end of our journey. And that's why I encourage people to do three things. Your birth name, the name you were born with, right? Like my name is Maureen. I didn't give myself that name, my parents did. You have the second name, which is a name people know you for your career. People might know me like being a leadership coach. But what is your secret name? Your secret name is a name that you give yourself as a legacy. And that's something you want to be remembered for. So if tomorrow you're going to say your journey has come to an end, right? How do you want people to remember you while you were here? You want to be remembered as the person who was pushing people down or the person who was pulling people up. I choose to be a lifter. I choose to be the person that holds people's arms up and say, together we arise. And we can be able to make greater impact. So that's where I'm going. My dream has not come to an end, but I think it's multiplied to different other areas. I've achieved one, but then I have other dreams that
Yep.
with God, everything is possible. Yeah.
I love so much of everything that you just said. So what I was hearing you say was that when you can say that you have achieved your dream because you've gotten there, you've gotten your company started, you're doing
Yeah.
it. But once you got there, I hear you saying that your mindset has been expanded and that
Yeah.
dream has been expanded.
Yeah.
Probably because I think sometimes we have this vision that when we have a dream, that when we get there, like that's the end and that's it. And I think the thing that I hear so many
It's
entrepreneurs,
the
I've been studying
beginning.
with so many entrepreneurs say is that's actually not it. And if it is, you usually don't last very long.
Yeah.
Once you get there, your dream expands and it
Yes.
keeps going because once you get to that place, you can now see things that you didn't see before. You can have bigger dreams
Absolutely.
because you didn't know those were possible. And
There you
so I
go.
love everything that you were sharing. I love, my theme is together, that we can do more.
Yes,
Together
absolutely.
we can overcome mountains. But I love, and maybe we can kind of wrap it up here, because I know we're starting to get to the end of our time here. I love
Loving
this
it.
thought. How do you want to be remembered? What
Yeah,
do you want your legacy to be? And I think the key to that is something I heard you say: the name that you give yourself.
yeah,
You have your given name, and you have the name you're known by, but what name are you giving yourself,
there you
ladies?
go.
That message right there, Maurine, just hit me in the heart, because that is probably the one that I have struggled the most with my entire life, is what name do I give myself? Because sometimes you walk through situations where people put names on you, but girl, you don't have to let those stick. And sometimes we
Absolutely.
let those stick, and we allow those to become our name. And
Yeah.
that's not what God created you for.
No,
And so,
nobody should define you. That's
no,
right.
don't allow anybody to define you. And
Yeah.
so, Maurine, if there's any last thing that's on your heart to share with the ladies, what might that be? Is there anything else that you just are feeling led to share with them today?
The one thing I would ask or just share with the ladies is look at who are the people around you. The fact that somebody is around you doesn't mean that that person is in your corner. So
That,
make sure that person who's in your corner, who's around you, is in your corner, because you're gonna need that person when you're going through a rough time. You're gonna need that person to give you a pep talk. You're gonna need that person to hold you accountable. Are you having the right team around you? So make sure you're surrounded by people that together you can dream. You're surrounded by people that together you can be able to fulfill your mission. It doesn't have to be 100 people. You need just that one person. But of course, God is there. All right. So tap into that and make sure you have the cushion that you need around you to take you to where you're going.
I love that. Well, Maureen, thank you so much for coming today and talking with me and sharing your story and sharing about big dreams. Um, sometimes it's hard to dream. That comes easier for some than it does for others. But I encourage you, if you are a person who struggles with having dreams, I encourage you to ponder that. Ponder those
Yes.
things that are those skills that God has given you, those passions that you have, because I would challenge you and say that odds are good. The dreams that are in there are related to those areas of your life, those areas that are your strengths, those areas that are your passions. So,
Yes.
with that, I will make sure to put Maureen's link to her website and her social media in the post when we're done. For those of you who were live, Kara, I love you, girl. Thanks for coming today.
Oh, thank you, Carol.
Yep. And for those who are watching the replay, we love you too. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Maureen or myself and get connected. So thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you tomorrow for, I always have to look and make sure I got my dates right because it doesn't stick. I'll see you tomorrow, 29. So we got 2 days left, girls. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody. Love you all. Thank you.